Assalamu alaikum. This is your computer science teacher, Sir Fawad Akhtar Ansari, and I have created some resources for the Python programming, so my students can do the practice at their home. So let's begin today's class. I created a question, and the question is about the first read the question that write a program in your chosen high level language. Write a program in your chosen high level language to input a number, then display the multiplication table from 1 till 10, and the program should include a function that takes the input number as a parameter. So for the demonstration I have written here, like if I input 2, so it will display the table of 2 in this format: 2 ones are 2, 2 twos are 4, 2 threes are 6, and so on. So this multiplication table we have to make, and we must make a function. So let's try to write the code in the Python programming. Okay, so in the Python what we have to do, first we have to make a function and then we make a main program code. So before making a function I am writing the code for the main program. So I have skipped some lines. Later on I will remove the extra lines, so don't worry. So I am first making the main program. So for your understanding I write the comment here, main program. So in the main program I take the user input, and I take the data type integer, and then I type the prompt, enter a number to display its multiplication table. Simple prompt, enter a number to display its multiplication table. This is the code for our main program. Now next step, I have to make a function. So I write define, and I have to choose a name of my function. So multiplication underscore table. This is my multiplication table. This is my function name, and as per the question's requirement, it says your program should include a function that take the input number as a parameter. So I take a variable as a parameter and I call it a number, colon, and then I display some sort of heading for the user understanding. So heading is multiplication table of, comma, and I display a variable user underscore input. So the reason of choosing this method, for example, my heading will display like this, multiplication table of 5 if I input 5, and if I input 6, so multiplication table of 6, or if I input 3, so multiplication table of 3. So whatever I input the value that is stored in the user input, so this value will be displayed here. Now for the iteration I use a for loop, and I choose a variable multiply in range. I have to give the range 1 comma 11. The reason of doing this 1 comma 11 is Python will skip the 11 and it will display the table till 10. If I type here 10, so Python will skip the 10. It will display the table from 1 till 9. So that is why I am typing the 11. So 11 will be skipped and the numbers will be displayed from 1 till 10. Now next thing is the format. So I explain you here. Let me clear it. So for example, I input 2 and this is stored in the variable number. I write in the short form num. This is my user input. So here And the method is, for example, 2 ones are 2. So this one is stored in the variable multiply that I used with the loop. So I am writing in the short form mul for the multiply and num for the number. For the better understanding, I show you here. So this is a user input. So the user input, if I input 2, so the 2 will be stored in the user input, which is a number. And multiply here you can see multiply is a variable that I use with the for loop. It will help us in iterating. So here it is. So whenever we multiply these two things, these two variables, it will display the product, whatever the product is. For example, if I input 5, 5 2s are 10, so it will display 10. So first we write the number in the formula. So let's see how do we do this. So I take the user input variable, user underscore input, comma. For the multiplication, for this step, I type x, comma, then this one is stored in the variable multiply. So here I write the variable multiply, comma. Now we have got to go for the equal to sign. So let's go for the equal to, comma. Now next thing is the formula that we multiply these two variables. Now I multiply user underscore input, multiply with the variable multiply. Now here our function is completed. Now I have to call this function in our main program. So in our main program, I copy the function name along with its parameter, and in the main program I replace it with the user underscore input. Now you will be thinking that in the name of this function multiplication underscore table, and inside the bracket I use the word number, but when I am calling it in the main program I am using this. So the reason is obvious, that user underscore input, this variable is used in the main program. So whatever the variable we use in the main program, so we will take it inside the function name when we are calling. So the user input, whatever the value is stored in the user input, it will be passed as an argument into this variable. For example, if I write here in the number, if I write user underscore input, so this variable is already used in the main program. So that is why it cannot pass the value to the same variable. So that is why we have to choose a different variable. So inside the function, this variable will be accessible. So this is a variable that I used in the main program. It cannot be used in the function. So it cannot be used in the function. That is why we are calling it and passing the arguments to this parameter number. So both variables cannot be same, both must be different. So I repeat the statement that user underscore input is used in the main program. So the variable that you use in the main program, it cannot be used as a parameter inside the function. So the logic is that when we are writing the variable of a main program, it will just pass the arguments to this parameter or pass the value to this parameter. I hope you understood the concept. Okay, now I am removing the extra lines. Okay, so now let's test the code whether it is working or not. Now it says enter a number to display multiplication table. For example, table of 3. Okay जी, multiplication table of 3. 3 ones are 3, 3 2s are 6, 3 3s are 9, 4 12 5. Okay, very good. So it is displaying the correct uh, output. Now let's test it again. For example, I want to display the table of 11. 11 is 11, 2 is 22. Okay. Now let's try to do another test to make sure that our code is working perfectly. 5 to the 10, 5 to the 15, 20. Okay, correct. So our program is working correctly. We can also make the same program with the different variation. If you search on the YouTube, you can find different teachers and the professors are explaining the same program with the different methodology. But I always try to make a program simpler for my students, for my learners, so they grasp the concept and then they can edit the code by themselves while watching the videos on the YouTube or researching on the Google, so they can do the variation by themselves. I am just delivering you and I'm just trying to delivering a concept to you. So there are many other versions of this code available on the internet, but I always try to make my code simple for the learners. So this is the effort that I did myself. So yeah, so now I think it is enough for today's class. I hope you got the concept, and inshallah in the next class we will try to make another function. Thank you so much attending the class. Take care. Allah Hafiz.